The beginning of the day was definitely hectic. All of our members got here at around 7:50 a.m. That's 7:50, and we're hoping to have all of our stuff up by 9. And our tables weren't here yet, our chairs weren't here yet. It got off to a shaky start because we were all tired, we were snapping at each other and whatnot. But as we started to get stuff done, like getting the picket signs into the ground, as we got the booths going and you showed up and everything started to fall into place.
I just came here to try to learn about how we could go about having political action to achieve the change we want to see.
I think it's wonderful the students are voicing their concerns. It gets the attention of the legislature, it's got the attention of the media.
It's to learn what exactly I could do to help change things in Sacramento.
It certainly got my attention and I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
People started watching and seeing what we were doing and kind of just observing and seeing what was going on and asking questions, which I think is the most important and most integral part of this movement, the most integral part of this event today. We started to realize that the pieces were falling into place and that we were doing things right. Like I said, at first it was just us and a couple of people who had heard about our event, like the typical people who are politically active on this campus. But then, as the day wore on, ASI was out there in full force. We had Paul Ramey, the executive vice president. We had Katie Havens, and we had just all these different people coming out. We had different organizations coming out.
I am a graduating senior in May, and I am a student leader. I am with Associated Students. I am a senator for the School of Business and Economics. Not speaking academically, but on the Senate side of things, I would say that this really makes us address a couple of concerns that we should be raising as students. Number one, the quality of education that we're getting. What is available to enhance our student experience as students in a college system.
Okay, so what ASI is, it's the Associated Students. We're kind of the official voice of the students here on campus. We kind of try and represent students in all matters, so academics, student life, anything you can kind of think of. So today was like a really great thing for us. We really want to kind of try and put a face to our name and go and talk to students about the issues and kind of try and figure out what's going on so we can try and serve them best.
I guess just in order to be able to make sure that we have a quality education on this campus, and this is like the way to go about it.
So many students out here supporting the issues, and we think we can really take that and bring it to the legislators and bring this energy to the legislators and show them that the CSU is where they should be, not cutting funding but putting more money into funding, because this really is the future of the state, and this really is kind of going to be the future leaders of the campus, or future leaders of the state.
And you know what? We might face some stuff tomorrow with other students saying, oh, look at those Occupy kids. We're not Occupy kids. We're Sonoma State kids.
And I've seen these protests on TV and in real life where people have bad confrontations with the police, and I think it's time we looked at other avenues to achieve political change.
You're doing nonviolent civil disobedience. Occupy, occupy, occupy. You're the 99%. That's not true. Civil disobedience has been around for thousands of years. Talking to one another, questioning things, has been around for thousands of years. This is not Occupy. This is human nature.
Well, when I first went here, tuition was nearly half of what it is now. And I work to pay for my tuition, and as it continues to increase, it makes it harder and harder to pay for it.
Constant fee increases have been brutal.
I'm a senior here at Sonoma State. I graduate this semester, and something that is just one of the stupidest things I've ever seen before. The CSU system, you have to pay full-time tuition if you take 7 or more units. The problem with that is, for me, I'm on financial aid, and you don't get full-time financial aid until you take 12 units. So even though I only needed 2 classes a semester to graduate, I still was paying for a full-time student, even though I wasn't getting money or financial aid for a full-time student.
making it incredibly challenging for students to get through and be able to afford to pay for their education.
It doesn't make any sense that I can be going to school for 7 units, but still have to be paying for 12.
Affordability is one of the key objectives for the CSU system, and I feel like it's becoming less and less affordable for all families and students.
Like I said, things were kind of shaky this morning. People were questioning, but they weren't really stepping forward this morning as things were going. When 11:58 started coming around, we were a little worried. No one was really like making that move besides those of us who had been involved in getting this going.
Well, for me, the day started out about noon. Came out here around noon, and I came out here to see the academic provost talk with students about the 18-unit cap. I'm very optimistic about that. It's the first time I've really seen the administration come out and talk with students.
Well, I'm the provost and vice president for academic affairs. Well, personally, it makes my job a lot harder because I have to work with less money to make sure that we put on all the quality courses that we need to put on so that students will graduate and obtain that meaningful education that's it's my job to make happen.
We had about 80 to 100 people come over and take part in that dialogue, which went over its hour time frame and into about 2 hours, which was fantastic.
One of the first dialogues that I kind of sat in was the one with the provost, probably the most important one that happened tonight. The conversation really revolved around the 18-unit cap and what that means to students. Also revolved around communicating with the university, ensuring, basically the provost was like, look, I'm here with you guys. And he really said, I'm dealing with the cards I've been dealt. Very humanizing thing to say, I think. And what he basically said was that we're, it's the legislation that we need to work to change together. So I think the provost is focused on developing a strong relationship with students and pointing their attention towards the legislation being made that's preventing some of the classes being taken and the fee hikes.
We've experienced $650 million cut last year, I believe. There's a $100 million trigger cut on the table right now. Fee increases have been time and time and again over the last so many years. So more out of the student pocket, less out of the state pocket to get less services provided.
We're educating a significantly larger number of students with 30% less.
I'm a sophomore in this school, and it's exciting to hear how the tuition is going to increase, and sadly for me, I might not be here next year because of that fee increase.
In a business perspective, we're the customer. And what do customers do when they don't feel that they're getting the value that they need? They rise up with their voice. They say, hey, look, it's not going to go like this. If I get a phone bill for my cellular phone that's 20% higher than I expected it to be and I review it and it doesn't make sense to me, I'm making a call and talking to somebody about that.
Rachel Ann, and after the dialogue happened, all of a sudden, I got a text that said, hey, are you still out there? And I looked down and I was like, yeah, we're still out here. I was going to go talk to someone, but I just said, yeah, we're still out here. And my friend said, good. My teacher's sending us outside. We have to interview people who are involved in that and write a paper on it for tomorrow. And instantly we had over 40 students out here on the lawn talking to us, going to the different booths, and then we had a dialogue. I said, hey, why don't we all have a dialogue? And then another class came. And then people just started coming from the community. This wasn't the dialogue with the provost, which is really interesting. This was a dialogue where there were just so many students that people heard things that were being talked about, and they were interested. They were looking at the questions that are on all these picket signs, and they started getting impassioned, and they started coming out, and they started feeling passionate about these issues as they heard what the other students were thinking just the same thing as them, or they started feeding off of each other's information and questions. And we had real dialogue going on. We had real community going on, and it was fantastic.
I especially feel that the new provost is really trying to work with the students rather than against.
I'm an exchange student. I'm from Canada, and I'm here just for 1 semester. I see it around people around me. They have to work a lot, the prices and the fees, and they go up all the time. And I see that people have 1 or 2 jobs, and I think it shouldn't be that. You shouldn't have to work like by the side of your studies if you want to give like the maximum of what you can do.
Right now, the budget cuts are a way that students are coming together from all walks of life and all different groups on campuses. So it's really important that we're starting this, and I hope that it continues, because the more students realize that the budget cuts are going to affect them and are going to affect everyone, then hopefully the more involvement we'll get, and through that community that becomes a knit community, knit together instead of separate groups, then through that strong community together we can make lots of change on this campus.
I really hope that we can get faculty support on that and administration support, because they've kind of been kicked as well.
Thursday, a number of faculty from here are going to support East Bay teachers in a strike.
Cuts to the teachers have been probably the most significant things that I think.
And CFA, the California Teachers Association, has not really struck in the past, so this is kind of a historic movement.
Whatever happened to professors living on campus? Whatever happened to getting a free house for professors on campus? That needs to go back.
You know, it's changed over the day. Towards the beginning of it, we had a lot of students kind of, I like to call it the activist stink eye. If you're really trying to get a message out, typical of Sonoma, I guess, you kind of get looked at funny. There's a lot of mistrust and people really eyeing you, and they're like, I don't know what this is, you know. So I think that that's changed over the day. We've actually made a lot of impact and really made students aware. And now, I mean, if you look, we're having a lot of active dialogue, and I think now the general reaction is, let's take some action.
As a graduate student, you know, I'm really deep into my career path, and my education is really important to me, and so part of like the major thing that makes my education and helps me learn is my professors, and so you know, my professors invest time in me, and I would like to see this university, you know, invest in my professors.
We have a situation where, I mean, we have a president who has 2 votes of no confidence in him.
From the faculty. Those are the people that have worked for him for 20 years.
From the people who don't have a contract, from the people who are losing their jobs.
I'm also here because I really want people who don't get out and say anything to get out and start kicking some dust up. At the right people too. I don't think it's ASI. I don't think it's the administration on campus. I think it's the legislators that are kind of doing this. The guys like our wonderful CSU chancellor. Well, we just had a group of Hutchies come up here, and I'm not the best kind of political science kind of talker, but I can do. I'm good at speaking from here, so I figured that having the audience to instill a little passion into would be a good opportunity. My whole thing is, let's share this experience. Let's make this our own. Let's hold the people who give us the money to make this thing happen accountable for their actions. Some people know it and some people don't, so I think it's fair that we all understand, you know, the consequences of the legislators, their actions anyway. So maybe some people who write big things in big papers will think big things about the small thing we're doing here.
We as students have to come together, and as a university system as a whole, have to do a better job of getting to the legislature, of making a statement statewide to change this.
And it really doesn't feel like the administration or the administrators are actually earning the salary they are receiving.
I think if you ask the students and if you ask the people who are involved in the CSU, it's got to come from the legislature. The legislature, over the course of the last 5 years, has cut the CSU's budget significantly every single year.
It doesn't feel good because you don't really see their impact, and it's the faculty that impacts the students most directly.
And I think the 4-year degree is sadly on its way out.
Well, I'd come here hoping to get my 20 units, and hopefully, because it took me 3 years to get done with a 2-year, to get done with this actually like in 2 years.
It's not a rigid model. The cap is 18, but at petition time there'll be all sorts of opportunities to increase the load should it be necessary for graduation.
To have to know that next semester we're paying more and can only waitlist 2 classes and then register for their 2 3-unit or 2 4-unit classes makes it much more difficult to graduate.
And hopefully get like a major and a minor, but I'm feeling like with 18 units I might not be able to get the minor done.
There's so many things that you don't know about before you come and take the class in it, and you can't really
experiment with different areas of knowledge.
I get it with the 9 and breaking it up and having it be the first registration being 9 and then having the second registration be 16. Well, why don't you just make it 9 and 9? And why do we have to wait to add and drop classes to have the 2 units?
We've really worked with talking to the staff and to the administration and the faculty and students, working together in harmony.
Ever since my second registration, I've been getting screwed on classes, obviously. It's just been hard to, I'm right now, even as a senior, haven't filled out my entire GE pattern, and it's been 4 years, and I'm like on the borderline of graduating in 4. So, I mean, it's really frustrating in that. And for a long time, the pattern system didn't make sense, and they couldn't get certain classes that were like humanities classes that were really small in number, and then they got cut down. So, and a lot of people have had that same lament.
I mean, it's always hard to do classes on campus, and there's a worry through not just me, but people I know that we're not going to get the classes we need.
I haven't been able to get the classes I've needed. I've had to prioritize whether to take, when I was a music major, music classes or GEs.
Class sizes get larger, less courses are offered. I think that there's an impact on the faculty as far as the workload that they carry.
Oh, I don't think there's any department has taken any damage. That's probably too strong a word.
I don't know that it's been contained to one department, or that you could even say that one department's been hit the most. I think all the departments university-wide have been kind of cut to the bare bones at this point, and we're really struggling just to make ends meet.
I don't think it's going to inconvenience anyone. It's our attempt to slow down the enrollment process so as we have better control on it.
I've seen something like this happen at San Jose State where they started dropping units and it basically became 12 unit max. And then you have to petition to get any more than that, and full-time became 9 units. So you basically were paying the same.
Anyways, through all my involvement in Sonoma State, I've met lots of different people, and I've started realizing some of the problems with Sonoma State as a university. A lot of our problems come from a lack of the overall sense of community. Many students tend to identify with a club or group that is a little bit separated from other clubs and groups. For example, as an athlete, I've seen a lot of students say, "Oh, I'm a Sonoma State athlete," instead of first saying, "Oh, I'm a Seawolf, I'm a bigger part, I'm a part of the big university."
If you want to graduate in 4 years, you're going to have to be taking summer school, and you have to be taking intercession and kind of augmenting your education in other ways. I think if you simply go to school in the fall and then in the spring, plan on being here for 5-6 years.
Last year I was also in the Leadership FIG, which is a class University 238, and through that class is where I also met a lot of different people that work in different departments and in different aspects of Sonoma State life.
Every statistic, every student leader affects at least one person on a daily basis. And every student leader, a lot of student leaders touch every student that passes through these doors, all the freshmen that go to orientation. And how can you have great leaders without a great program? The biggest thing that really shocked me was the cut of the leadership program, University 238, which is the basis, I strongly believe, it's the basis of all leadership on campus.
Basically, University 238 should not be removed from this campus because it's an important part of filtering out, who's ready to be a CSA, or any of the really important, leadership positions on campus.
I'm a student here at Sonoma State. I've been here since last fall. And I want to say that I'm really affected by the University 238 cut. Why? Because I need to take the course to graduate. I'm planning on graduating this fall of 2012. I'm really excited. I'm really ready to go out there and be out in the world. But University 238 not being up in the spring, you're going to keep me here longer, and I really want to get out there and start using what I've learned.
I really hope that anybody out there that may see any of this stuff really considers the fact that education is something that we all say is of great value in our nation, and we will fall behind on a global level if it isn't one of our fundamental values.
It's really hard for me, and I'm on the way out, so I can't even imagine how a freshman's going to get through 4 or 5 years at this school.
So we need to learn to work together, and starting with these budget cuts and this small showing we're having right now with just this sleep out, camp out for the death of CSU, the 9% increase in our tuition, this is a start, and I hope that it keeps continuing.
And we can kind of do our things here and there, and I think that's great. And I think what's going on here today is a great show of student frustration and of students coming together and really voicing their opinion and learning kind of how things have changed and what's going on. But if we don't unify as a CSU system and as students and as a state, we're going to be in big trouble, and you're going to see the CSU go away, at least the CSU we know today.
And I mean, that's still going on right now, and it's about 12:30 on a Wednesday night. I know so many people have exams tomorrow, papers tomorrow. There's a strike at Cal State East Bay tomorrow. I'll say that again. I know so many people who have midterms tomorrow, exams tomorrow, papers tomorrow, and there's a strike at Cal State East Bay tomorrow, and we all need to be there. But what's most important is that we're here, this 24-hour camp out, to raise awareness about these issues and build that community in full force. We have about 50 people here right now.
And the most important thing for me tonight is that we've really worked on developing a sense of community.
As you can see today, if we bring this into my background, it's pretty late at night, chilling here in a hall, pretty far away from the local dorms. And in the cold, we have all these people chilling here. They're all talking, man. And this is rare for my school. They're all talking to each other, people they don't know.
Right now, I don't know when this is gonna end, which is kind of amazing. I'm really tired. Like I said, I went off of 3 hours of sleep, but I don't know when this is gonna end. I think people are just so passionate right now and so pumped up about what's going on that they just want to keep talking.
The plans for the rest of the night, I really hope that we continue these dialogues. I think the core group that really initiated this is going to focus on digesting what's happened today and really putting a focus towards how we're going to maintain this in the future.
So tonight we're going to talk until our tongues wag, and then we've already started to set up the tents, and we're going to start getting people to sleep soon, I think. Some people are going to head to the library because they have to finish papers, and we're going to get to sleep. And we're going to sleep out here, and in the morning we're going to get up. We're going to maybe have a little meeting in the morning over some muffins and coffee, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what's next.
The plan is, it looks like we're kind of digesting everything that we've talked about and kind of breaking it down, identifying some goals, and we'll camp out here. It'll be cold, but we'll get it done, and I think we'll have a lot of direction after we do some more brainstorming here. So I'm feeling very optimistic about it. It looks good.
But here on our campus, we're acting in a very productive, peaceful manner, and I think that says a lot about our students, about our campus, about our organization, and about just our community.